A Hairier Problem by Blue Bastard. Chapter 16 Nightmare Night. During the time when Queen Faust worked to turn the uneasy peace between the three thriving pea subspecies into one single unified population, she encouraged the Earth ponies to restart an ancient tradition of holding a harvest festival at the end of fall. Having largely been forgotten by ponies during the period when Wendigos created an unending blizzard that destroyed all crop production, Faust insisted on the resurrected tradition to be expanded and include unicorns and pegasi. In time, it assisted her goal of a unified Equestria as one of the major examples of promoting harmony between ponies, and would continue even after she passed the throne to her daughters. Then, shortly before the festival was to be celebrated all over Equestria, Luna's jealousy and insecurities were allowed to manifest in a rage against Celestia, resulting in the birth of Nightmare Moon. By the time even the farthest reaches of the country had learned of Luna's attempted coup d'etat, the festival was largely forgotten, as every pony was scared that the princess's turned monster would come after them, if not one of her monstrous minions such as werewolves or the vampiric bat ponies. The following year, well after Celestia had tearfully banished her own sister to 1,000 years on the moon, and the new Lunar Republic crushed under her subsequent raids, the lone Alicorn insisted that the harvest festivals resume. However, as the reign of terror caused by Nightmare Moon was still fresh in the minds of the populace, rumors circulated of her return, and so to avoid mass panic, Celestia was forced to change the Harvest Festival into a yearly event dedicated to everything scary and what goes bump in the night. While it hurt Celestia to have effectively villainized her sister, the newly created Nightmare Night was a success in every respect and helped turn the terrors of old into mere folklore and simple young rebel-level story material. Much to the Sun Princess's relief, Luna was amused at the idea of a holiday dedicated to her, at least after making a major scene in Ponyville unannounced for her first public appearance following her restoration. And if you ask a certain writer, it's all bad. Boo-hoo. Fuck you, reality check. Look, even if this wonderfully done explanation wasn't here, it's easy enough to see that the populace would probably start to villainize her due to rumors and legends and myth. The only way Celestia could do that would be to stop all news. And we don't want a tyrant, right? As for all the other creatures of the night who are Nightmare Night icons, they had disappeared over the years or become more docile over the years, such as the bat ponies no longer needing to drink blood thanks to genetic drift. Or at least that was what Silver Spoon had wanted to believe. But after months of being dragged along by Diamond Tiara and that ghost werewolf on some scheme to expose the Apple Bloom as one of those monsters of yore, the pretense of needing such activity having been thrown in her face, the young Silversmith had never been more scared, even on previous nightmare nights. So that's the plan. Got it? Asked Diamond, who was dressed up as a miniature eclair. Yeah, half-heartedly answered your great filly, whose own costume, that of a French cream pie, had yet to be put on. She and Diamond were in Silver's room, as while Silver had survived falling into the river, she hadn't totally escaped unharmed. As it turned out, she'd broken her left foreleg at some point during the smashing against things in the water, not feeling it until she had already been brought to Ponyville General. Now she was forced to wear the foreleg brace if she wanted to get anywhere, much like how Apple Bloom had needed to wear one, although she only had some severe cut, not a broken leg. Great, now get your costume on, continued Diamond, oblivious to the unsure undertones in her companion's voice, her own falling when she muttered, This would have been so much easier if you hadn't stupidly broken your leg. What was that? Asked Silver, turning to fully look at Diamond. Just muttering to myself how we're going to get Apple Bloom tonight, lied Tiara. Silver had a fairly good idea of what had actually been said. Between lingering effects of the pain medication she'd been prescribed and her unwillingness to argue with her only friend, Silver just didn't feel like making a point of it. At the very least, all she had to do was be on the lookout tonight, since she couldn't really do anything else thanks to her busted leg. Cut, Silver, Diamond, it's time to go, called up Silver's mom. Coming, Mom, replied Silver. Okay, can you cut me into this thing, Tiara? Diamond nickered. If I have to. You want me to come along? cautiously asked Raspberry, currently making the desk at Traveler's Retreat. But of course, darling, replied Rarity, dressed in her old Princess Platinum costume from the one time she played the role of Caroline Hartswarming Eve pageant. It wasn't exactly the same. The cloak had been mostly ruined by mildew and masonry residue, as a result of its storage bin having been damaged to having been in a box that suffered flood damage when Spike had helped Applejack help Rarity in fixing the not actually broken water pipes. We're sorry, but any reference to that episode tends to drive him mad. We apologize. They had forgotten in the wake of Cerberus having laid siege to Carousel Boutique a year ago. What had been salvageable was incorporated into a new cloak. Visually the exact same, but slightly thicker as to keep Rarity warm in the event this nightmare night was chillier than usual. But I don't have a costume. What did you tell me? I make clothes for Celestia's sake, but after that last delivery a week ago, I could have happily made you a new costume from the ground up. I'm sorry. Rarity shook her head. Raspberry. What am I going to do with you? Leave me here? Raspberry made a squeal great grin. Rarity looked down amused, her horn had lit up, and casually the hapless non-costume mare. I will not stand by and let somebody like you sit out nightmare night. Come, surely I can make something out of what I left lying around at home. Unwilling being forced to hover as Rarity turned to leave, Raspberry flailed her limbs wildly, trying to break free without using her magic. Rarity couldn't know that fact, not yet, so instead Raspberry cried for help. Ooh, what's going on? Walking in front of the Cow Hairier, the kids retreat. Miss Rarity, what are you doing to Raz? Oh, I'm sorry, apologized Rarity, still leaving Raspberry hovering in the air. She doesn't have a nightmare night costume, so I'm going to take her to be fitted, and then she will help summon all the Crusaders for Condy. What? Was all Barrow could say. Oh, don't tell me you never experienced nightmare night, ever! Dramatically exclaimed Rarity. Mr. Raspberry's smiled nods. Didn't have the time. Usually I try to schedule my gem trips around the end of harvest season. I never saw the point. You know what my fillyhood was like, and I've never wanted to make a costume because money is always tight. Well, I think Miss Rarity will see to it that this year's different, won't you? Asked Casimir. And last year, you can take the rest of the night off. No point comes to the retreat this late on Nightmare Night anyway, so Ascot and I can handle it. We're all cute as it is, so we tend to stay inside and pass out candy to any fillies and colts that come around. But you're young. You should have the chance to experience a fun night like this. At that point, Heliodor had come in, and upon seeing his usual purse, was now unstable and hovering in the air. There was a nearby table. Oh, and I'll make a costume for little Healy, too, squealed Rarity. Healy, however, had a sticky feeling in his gut as a reaction. Hearing Raspberry, what the hell is he going to do to me? Look. A fashion makeover. To the both of us, said Raspberry, equally as uneasy as her pet. Rarity then suddenly took the chance to bolt out to retreat, the hapless unicorn and her aura having been taken along for the ride. Heliodor merely faced away and taken out to follow. He dreaded what the alabaster fashionista was going to do to them. He got his answer soon when Rarity almost literally tossed the spinstress into the boutique. He quickly rushed to her side, even though he knew she wasn't hurt. The sudden loud click at the door lock made him pale. Rarity? Whimpered Raspberry, now unsure what was going on. You two will be. Caesar turned around, eyes muzzled, the Starwoman crazed look. Fabulous! The various tools around to work for ignited as her aura were pieces of the fabric, all of them spinning in one circle. Raspberry and Heliodor clutched each other, screaming in terror, as the ensemble descended upon them like a ravenous beast. Lightning Dust anxiously moved around the inside of Rainbow's home. It was bad enough she was cooped up inside a building of kind. Her wolf side was practically screaming in her head to be let loose. Normally, she was able to sneak out to Everfree during such nights, thankfully rare as they were. But as a creature, she needed to tell Rainbow she was doing so. The issue at Hove was that Rainbow had disappeared. Dust had been taking a nap on the castle when Rainbow had last come home, so all she remembered was the blue Pegasus saying something about getting ready for Nightmare Night. That was 15 minutes ago. Before all the sound from the upstairs stopped, investigation found the master bedroom in a state of total chaos. which, despite every logical reason to believe so, was normally extremely clean and tidy, in contrast to the way Rarity had treated everything on the ground. Rainbow? Constantly calls out Dust. Dust's appearance had spooked her badly, with every odd noise making her fur stand on end. She even allowed for her fangs to be put out simply to help reassure her that whatever she might face, she wasn't totally defenseless. Suddenly, the entire house went pitch black. Ah! Screamed Dust, and her panic instantly fell on her back, four legs pointing up into the nothingness. Frozen with fear, she paled as something in a horribly strained tone, as if perpetually choking, started to whisper things in tongues she didn't understand. Then they became things she did understand, such as Nightmare Night. What a fright! Give me something! A hypervaliant only increased as the voice became louder, and suddenly, from the top of her view, came two giant glowing eyes. Attached to a nightmarish shout bolt that was the source of the strange voice and shouted, Sweetabite! Acting up pure instinct, Dusty and Eve had time to process her actions before she shifted to full werewolf form, right herself, and dashed to the nearest thing she could see. And then it occurred to her she could see better in the dark when she was a wolf. The lights came on, the shout bolt having restored the lighting spell to the lamp fixtures, revealing it only to be Rainbow Dash. Oh man! Laughed Rainbow, kneeling over, clutching her chest, laughing all the way down. Your face! Oh, Celestia, your face! I didn't think it was that good! Dust's first thought was to immediately attack Rainbow and bite down on her neck so hard it would catch the windpipe. She bared her teeth in anger. She willed herself back in control, although doing so made her realize how easily she lost control with something as a prank. That scared her much more than Rainbow had, watching her start tearing up. Excuse me. Rainbow didn't immediately recognize the prank had gone too far. Although considering how fearless Dust usually was, the idea was a rather simple scare tactic. It reduced her tears made no sense. Gee, Dust. I'm sorry. Apologized Rainbow, removing the headpiece and goggles so her six-color mane fell free. You should have told me you're not one for scares. Everything we did back in the academy, that was a different me! Lightning snapped back, her physical state somewhere between pony and wolf, as she slowly forced herself back to normal. Back when I wasn't a werewolf, wasn't so insecure about myself because sometimes I don't know what's real or not, since I'm now something that all my life was said to be a myth! She started to choke, big fat tears starting to come down. Don't get the wrong idea, Dash. It was a good prank, and it was half the mayor it used to be. I would have done the same, but my gut reaction when you revealed it was you, I had to stop myself from killing you simply out of fear. Rainbow involuntarily took a step back at revelation, and they continued forward and took her troubled flatmate to embrace. But you didn't. Dust, I'm sorry I put you in this position. Even if I had the slightest hint a scare like that would set you off, I wouldn't have done that. It's okay, Dust. It's Nightmare Night after all. Best night of the year for pranks. More like pranks, since that was the only one I planned. Dust broke the embrace. Eyes ripping in tears, but giving Rainbow a hard enough what are you talking about look. Little Pegasus had to give a sheepish grin as she responded. I ain't promised Skulu I chaperone her and friends around, since I'm her adopted big sister. No time for pranks. Even though I honestly would love to do what I did that one year all over again. What did you do? Seeing the opportunity to cheer up the cursed mare, Rainbow got up and retrieved her Shadowbolt mask, dying once again before going to excruciating detail as he pushed a cloud around and fired thunderbolts at unsuspecting ponies, in her own shocking surprise. Wait, Princess Lily used your own prank against you? Chortled Dust, who was in a much better mood. Yeah, it was embarrassing. Luckily only Twilight and Spike were there to see it since they'd been my targets, admitted Dash, whose plus could be seen through the mask. But times change, so I'm playing it low-key this year and hanging out with girls on the ground. There's a shell bug again? Yeah, I only brought this thing out so I could prank you with it. I got a different, less threatening one already prepped for me back upstairs. As for you, Dust stuttered, I figure I would spend the night and never free again. I gotta go wolf form soon, and it's not gonna do me any good cooped up at your house or in public. That's not an agreement. Yeah, it makes sense. But you could stick around that clearing where Nightmare Moon statue is. Normally it's safe, but just in case, it'd be nice if you patrol that area to keep it clear from any monsters. Some occasional growls while the kids and chaperones are doing a candy ritual thing would help salt the mood, too. Dust gave a conspiratorial grin, her fangs once again showing. Does this mean I can take some of the candy when no pony's looking? Dash rolled her eyes. Like a werewolf needs any more reason to be hyperactive. She chuckled. I am so ready for candy, exclaimed Scootaloo. To no point surprise was wearing an Iron Mare costume. Yeah, kinda seems our key marks won't be ready for candy collecting, said Sweetie, dusting her own pretty princess outfit. Visually, it was similar to the one Rarity was wearing, although the elder unicorn was busy scheduling Raspberry and Helidor to carousel petite carousel. The main difference being Sweetie's crown was more traditional closed-top headpiece. At its highest point was set the magnificent diamond centerpiece, with smaller gems of various colors adorning the rest of the crown. A candidate, added Babs, who decided to dress up as a changeling of all things. Clad in a form-fitting catsuit with holes cut in the random leggings to simulate the signature appearance of the changelings. A saddle carapace and wing attachments made of cardboard were tied around her middle, and a cheap pair of plastic vampire fangs completed the look. We're dressing up costumes, agreed Apple Bloom. She was dressed up in a rather simple costume. Carmine Sabanico. She wore a blood-red trench coat, and a large red fedora, similar to those worn by the world-famous thief, who was a similar regular antagonist in Daring Do books. She then playfully mimicked the character by reaching for the diamond sitting on Sweetie's head. So, right there, Sonic Apollo! Announced Daring Do, who slipped down and tackled her enemy a wavering prize. Rainbow then slipped around and put Apple Bloom on the ground. Great costume, by the way! You even have the hoof boots and everything! What's to believe those were mine a long time ago? Said Applejack, who was wearing, of all things, a wonderful costume. She even had flake plastic wings, the same shade of orange as her coat. Although they were cast in folded position and having them in an open pose would be problematic for a pony, who normally didn't have wings. They're on my old glasses, but Granny preserved them for Apple Bloom so well that they seem to fit the part. Speaking of preserved, look who's coming, said Rainbow, mostly to a approaching figure. Amazingly, it was Fluttershy of all ponies, wearing her old Private Pansy costume. Rainbow had to voice what every pony was thinking. Fluttershy, don't you usually hide at home during Nightmare Night? Yes, normally I would, but... Most likely spending it reading her manga. Apparently, I remind you, she's a fan of Rama. I kinda like that. I figured it would be alright this time, just hanging around with you girls. Woohoo! This is gonna be the best Nightmare Night ever! Exclaimed Pinkie, her costume being a choice of a giant gummy suit with Gummy himself, attached to her mane by way of climbed jaws, dressed in a mini Pinkie suit. It's gonna be an interesting one for sure, said Twilight, managed to glide in and land without tripping, with Spike on her back clutching on for dear life. All the air ponies gathered to give a quick round of stamping and applause for the unicorn. A little higher on the approach next time, but otherwise, that was good, approved Rainbow Dash. Although, you still need to work on choosing costumes. Other ponies would actually know. Twilight nickered her noise. I'm Wisteria of the Wise! Please, tell me some pony here knows who she is! Silence. Apprentice to Starswirl the Bearded? First Archmagus under the newly formed equestrian crown under Queen Faust? More silence. Hey, at least it's better than that Copernicus costume you drafted up, commented Spike, who was wearing a giant Phoenix outfit. That thing made you look like a beat. Twilight sighed. I told you, Spike, that idea went down to twos when I couldn't work in a way to accommodate these. She partially unfolded her wings to prove a point. There was some way I could keep these from springing up involuntarily, then I could go around as a unicorn. But since this is a night meant for scary and mind control over my new appendices isn't perfect, this costume is better for me. After all, you even said since earlier, Spike, are you listening? The dragon didn't hear anything, as his full attention was on the diamond in Sweetie's crown. Sure, the little gems around it looked like sweet little candies, but that centerpiece was the most delicious looking gems he ever seen in his life. The fountain of drool coming from his mouth was evidence of such. It was the only way he was aware that every pony was looking at with concern. He snapped out of his trance. Oh, sorry. Trying to avoid getting sick on candy again. But I'm so hungry and not timing. Sleepbell shook her head to Sweetie Dragon. I wouldn't recommend thinking about it, Spike. We already had decided special order for Raspberry Barrel, which said this is the tiniest diamond she ever sold. Spike home, began Apple Bloom, gesturing her head towards the approaching figures. This time it was Rarity in her original costume, escorting Raspberry and Heliodor. The other ponies looked on as Rarity arrived with her companions, sporting her improvised on-the-spot costumes. Raspberry Barrel had been done in a slightly Philly, slightly country-style pleated dress, with a minimum of red cloak over it. Her maid was done up in two long pigtails that seemed to be the same how Granny Smith looked in the old pictures of her as a filly. Heliodor was a grumpy phoenix wearing a midget-sized dragon costume. He hated it. He hated it more when he realized it was the color like Spike.
Well, sneered Pinky. Guess we have a pair of opposites?
Indeed, said Rarity. Admittedly, I like the intensity make Heliodor's costume similar to Spike, but only because they are similar in their relations to pony partners. Wait, Raspberry, you think of Heliodor as a younger brother? Questioned Twilight before shooting a disapproving look at Rarity, or putting words in the unicorn's mouth. No, not really. Although the idea they're dressed up as each other is cute, replied the cloakmare. But I see Healy as just a close friend and companion. That said, I originally wasn't planning on being out tonight, until Rarity dragged me out here to retreat, so I don't know what's going on tonight.
What do you mean you don't know what's going on?
Asked Pinky before doing exaggerated guess.
Oh, don't tell me you never celebrated Nightmare Night before.
Never had the chance, nor interest, nor even enough money for a costume in the event I had the other two.
Well then,
screamed Rainbow, hovering over and draping a foreleg around the unicorn. You're with the right group of ponies to do it with. To say Raspberry was nervous was an understatement. So he'd gone from happily manning the desk back at the hotel to now being stuffed into a costume, which admittedly was quite nice, especially the cloak, and spending the night with the six most dangerous ponies possible, and their younger counterparts, including Gay Applebloom, that gave off an unsettling aura of something. Raspberry didn't know what it was any more than he did last time, but it wasn't good. But, as he thought, daring a smile while pretending to follow that discussion I hope was about, perhaps I'm just getting worried about nothing. If I could prove to the six elements I'm a good pony, doesn't want to hurt any pony, that would be the ticket to finally breaking free of my cursed life. Bolstered by the thought that this was the end of all her troubles, Raspberry eagerly agreed to help chaperone the Crusaders while they collected the candy. The reminiscence of some candy-giving ritual to the statue of Nightmare Moon, every incident that reminded Raspberry that the secrecy kept were far scarier than any inert statue. Diamond hurriedly placed the last bit of bait on the path before darting to safety. If any pony learns he purposely had not been with the group led by Sakura for the candy-giving ritual, it was so stupid. Every pony knew Nightmare Moon didn't really exist anymore, now that Luna wasn't being confused for her anymore. It would be a world of trouble coming her way. While Silver Spoon already stayed behind in Ponyville as a cover, claiming Diamond was busy using the little filly's room, Diamond only needed to get back before any pony realized the truth as he was home free. And Applebloom? Well,
now you're gonna get yours,
whispered Tiara. Well, she wouldn't be there to see what had happened to the monster in Applebloom's skin. Just knowing the task would be accomplished was enough at this point. Then, as if giving a signal to an unseen watcher, she motioned with her hoof and took off into the forest. She didn't need to fear any of the creatures. Her friend from the other side assured none of those beasts would cross their path tonight. As it was, she made good time and was back at Ponyfield before any pony noticed, meeting up with Silver Spoon and where she saw her costume.
Finally,
exclaimed Silver.
You were kind of pushing it for time there. I'll give it a rest. I got it done, didn't I?
Chided Diamond, moving to put the eclair back on. Silver then stopped her. Diamond, what happened to Everfree?
What are you talking about? I set up the trap, so you know who will deal with the rest.
Then what's that blue stuff on your hose?
More importantly, where's your cutie mark?
Panic registered Tiara's brain as he immediately looked down at her hose. It was spotted with blue pollen. Then, slowly, she turned to look at her flank. It was blank. All thoughts of her glorious revenge on Applebloom were immediately replaced by a still scream of Diamond Tiara, becoming the very things he loved to mock. It was only the first of multiple scares the town would endure that night.